Hello, my name is Prisha. I live in the United States, but I'm originally from India. Please like and subscribe. Back in India, I was so popular, and everyone thought I was pretty. Even the principal and the teachers adored me. Once when I was in the second grade, I got sick for a week during the exams week, and the principal decided to postpone all the exams until I felt better. Life was great at school, but back at home, things weren't good. I had a twin brother named Aaron, and he was my mom's favorite simply because he was a boy. Once on our birthday, Mom organized a party for him only and made me serve him and his friends. And there was no party for me. Mom was so mean, but at least I had school, my happy place. That is, until the 7th grade when my family decided to move to the States. I had to leave my amazing life and friends, and I was so sad. I always felt like a freak in the States. My skin, my accent, my clothes, everything was so different from everyone else. To make matters worse, Mom wanted me to wear the traditional clothes, a sari, to school. But Mom, if you want me to keep wearing that, why did you leave India? This is a new country with a new style of clothes. Shut up, you useless girl. We left India because of your dad's job and I didn't have any choice. And you need to wear a sari to school because I said so. I won't have you dressing like an indecent woman. I turned around to leave and found Aryan standing behind me, laughing. And then Mom told him that she got a private tutor to teach him English at home. And why wouldn't I get a teacher, Mom? What would a housewife need English for? You only have to clean and cook. Don't talk to me like that, you idiot. What are you going to do, little girl? Scream for daddy? And then I jumped on him and pulled his hair till Mom pulled me away. Mom said I was a bad girl and she decided that she'd come to school on the first day to watch me. She wasn't kidding. I wanted the earth to swallow me as we walked into school together. Mom was even holding my hand. Some girl even came and held my other hand to help me walk. She thought I was blind. When I walked into the classroom, I met the snobbiest, meanest girl in the United States, Missy. Excuse me, this is my classroom and you're hurting my eyes with the curtain you're wearing. Take off these clothes right now. Even if it makes you naked, I don't care. Because my English wasn't good, I didn't say anything and just walked to an empty seat. But Missy stopped me. Hello, I'm talking to you. This is an American school. Change your clothes. It's not Dalawi here. It's Diwali, ma'am. Huh? What are you talking about? Just leave, disappear, vanish. Go. Sit there, in the corner. I took my seat and some girls later came to me to say that I looked beautiful. I knew they were just being nice, and now with Missy around, my life would be hell. On the other hand, Aaron was having a blast. He became one of the popular kids in school only a week after we joined. He was so mean, he joined Missy in bullying me and didn't tell anyone that we were siblings. Once during a lesson, I needed an eraser, so I asked Aaron for one in Hindi. He pretended he didn't hear me, but I kept calling him until Missy said, "Oh God, why is this dummy talking to you in that weird language?" Oh, no, it's because she knows I speak her language. And to Missy he said, 𝗕𝗔𝗦𝗬𝗪. Oh God, that's so sexy. I like smart boys who can speak languages other than like American. Please, be my boyfriend? Aaron got closer to her and kissed her. Ew! I threw my pencil at his head and he yelled like a little girl. I couldn't take this anymore. The very next day, with my savings, I went to a secondhand store and bought a few cool outfits. I decided to keep the clothes in my backpack every day, and before arriving at school, I would go into a public bathroom and change. But my only problem was Aaron. To my surprise though, he didn't say anything to me. And with my new outfit, Missy left me alone, and my life was getting better. That is until one day when Aaron came to me. Wow, Prisha, you really look good. But I wonder what Mom would have to say about you dressing like an indecent woman. This is not indecent. It's a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Can't you leave me alone? Nope, I don't think so. I'm gonna tell Mom. I pushed him angrily against the wall. What will keep your mouth shut? Well. How about your weekly money? But that money is for lunch at school. You decide. Either you eat or you face Mom. What a jerk. He could dress as he wanted to go to school, but I couldn't? What an unfair world. I gave him my weekly money. I wasn't going back to being bullied for my clothes. One day I was starving and staring at a sandwich in the cafeteria when Missy and Aaron came over. "Hello, starving girl. Do you want that sandwich? I can give you money for it." You would? Thank you." As I extended my hand, Missy slapped it away. "Not so fast, loser. You'll have to do something for me. I need someone to carry my bag, and my amazing boyfriend suggested that you could work as my assistant. What a total jerk! But I needed money, so I asked her how much she would give me weekly, and she said only 50. "Oh, I want 200 weekly. Please, Aaron, talk to your girlfriend, or I will tell her about your sister and who she is." "Oh, OMG, I would love to meet your sister and your family, babe." "Oh, babe, trust me, you won't. Let's pay this loser $200. "Well, that's not happening. I'll only pay 100, and you, babe, you can pay the other 100. Aaron looked like he was about to explode. Now he was the dumb moron who would pay me to keep my mouth shut. Being Missy's assistant wasn't that bad after all. I actually gained popularity next to that dumb girl and made good money. But one day, Missy decided that we would all eat pastrami sandwiches. I don't know if you know this, but Hindus aren't allowed to eat cow's meat. They're sacred to us. But my stupid brother was eating it. Oh my God! I snatched his sandwich and threw both of ours away. "What do you think you're doing? Bring them back and eat them right now, or you're fired." "I will not eat this meat. You cannot force me. So, okay, I'm fired." "Get out of here, stinky." "Stinky you. As long as you have straight hair, you don't bathe for days. Your hair smells like trash, Missy." "You're so terrible. Just go back to your country." "Oh yeah, I'd love to, but then I'd have to take my brother with me, who happens to be your boyfriend." Aaron glared at me, but instead of being mad, Missy just pulled him close. Oh, it's so hot having an Indian boyfriend. Indian guys are the best. And they started kissing. Ugh! I just stormed off. Later that day, when I was in the public bathroom changing my clothes, Aaron was waiting outside. "Hey, dumbhead, I think now you have to pay me so I won't tell mommy about your secret." "Man, why do you always have to be so mean to me?" "I told you before, it's because you're useless and stupid." "You know that's not true." "Yeah, you know what? You're right. It's because you're the smart, likable twin. And since I can't be as smart as you, I'll ruin you. So give me my money now." "No, I'm not giving you anything. I'm sick of you and Mom. She is just crazy." When I finished saying those words to Aaron, he turned white and his eyes widened. What? That's true. Mom doesn't understand anything." My brother pointed behind me. When I turned around, there she was, Mom. And guess what? She had heard everything, and she was seeing me dressed in jeans. She looked like a bomb was about to explode. I don't know if she was going to have a stroke or if she was going to attack me. But instead, Mom only said 5 words. "Take that off right now." With my head down, I just said, "Yes, Mom." Next day, Mom told me the craziest thing. I would be engaged to someone soon and marry them after graduation. I was speechless. Mom was awful. I just ran out of the house and walked for hours in the pouring rain. I felt defeated. I came home when everybody was sleeping. The following day, I had to go to school dressed as Mom wanted. And of course, Missy was bullying me over my clothes again. "Wow, your clothes are so amazing." "You don't mean that, do you?" "Of course not. Today's not Halloween, my dear." "It isn't? So why do you have on that monster mask?" "Oops, you don't seem to like jokes." "Do you see anyone laughing? A joke has to make everyone laugh. If not, it's bullying." "Oh, shut up, you Dalawi girl." "What is that even supposed to mean?" But then Missy attacked me and everyone gathered around us. We were wrestling on the ground till someone pulled Missy away. And it was Aaron. "Don't touch my sister or else, Missy." Missy and I were shocked and we both yelled, "What?" "You heard me. And stop bullying her for the way she's dressed. You need to learn some respect." "Oh my God, are you defending this witch?" "This witch is my sister, and there is no way I would let you talk to her like that, or to anyone. This needs to stop, and you have to apologize now." "In your stupid, ugly dreams, you moron." And suddenly a boy yelled, "Yeah, you have no right to bully her for wearing a sari. Apologize now." And another girl said, not only to her, apologize to all of us for being a jerk and bullying us for stupid reasons. Everyone circled Missy and she started crying like a little baby. I'm sorry, just don't hurt me. I know you're apologizing now only because you're scared. But I swear, if we see you bullying someone again, me and my brother will make sure you regret it. Missy squealed and ran away like a little mouse. I thanked Aaron and asked him why he did this now. He said it was time for him to be man enough to do the right thing. After what Mom decided to do to you and marry you off, I knew I had to do something. You're my sister and you've always treated me well. I have to help you, Prisha. I still had another big problem, my engagement, which was a week from now. But I had a plan and Aaron was going to help me. I ran away that day and Aaron took my place. He dressed like me and covered himself with a veil and no one could recognize him. When I ran away, I bumped into someone and he looked at me with his eyes wide. I think I'm your fiancé. Oh, you're also running away? Well, yeah, obviously. I don't know why they're doing this to their own kids. Marrying someone against your will is the worst. His name was Karan, and we spent the next 2 hours talking. While back at home, people became impatient and asked Mom to hurry. So Mom just removed the veil and, well, she screamed when she saw Aaron. Everyone stared in shock and then frantically started searching for us. Everyone had left by the time I got home, but Mom was waiting for me, and she was fuming. Mom, I don't want to get engaged. And you can't make me. I love my Hindi origins, and I'm so proud to be who I am. But forcing me to be with someone I don't love is a red line. Well, you don't decide that. You're only a stupid, useless girl, and you will have to— No, that girl has grown up, Mom, and I won't allow you to control me anymore. I'm a real human being with real emotions, and you need to leave me alone or I will call child services. Do you hear me? Mom gasped as she attacked me. I pushed her away. You're not my daughter. I'm ashamed to have a daughter like you. Fine with me, and don't you ever try to touch me again.
I'm not stalking her. I'm not being overprotective. I just want to make sure she's fine. You promised to give her more space, remember? But what if she gets hurt or trips on something? What if something goes wrong? Dude, she goes out all the time and nothing ever happens. Besides, she's right in front of the house. Gosh, she's just a child. Anything could go wrong. 2 tiny versions of me were literally perched on my shoulder, giving me conflicting advice. Not being able to cope with the indecision anymore, I stood up abruptly, rushing to the front door. Something occurred to me on my way, and I decided to pick up a trash bag so Pat would think that I simply came to dispose of the trash and not to watch her. Immediately, I stepped out of the house with the trash bag. I heard Pat screaming my name.
Brian, help me, help me.
I ran towards her voice, and I discovered the most terrible thing possible. If you stick to the end of this video, you'll find out exactly what it was. In the meantime, like this video and subscribe to this channel, if you haven't already. If you don't do it immediately,
Brian, what's going on?
Huh? I'm recording a video for Storytime Animated, the best animated storytelling channel on YouTube.
Did they tell you to laugh like a witch and behave like a psycho?
I laughed. Nah, Mom, that was just me. I was trying to convince people to like my video and subscribe to the channel. It's a YouTube thing. You may not understand. Mom rolled her eyes.
Whatever, just remember to finish your video quickly so you don't miss dinner.
Sure, Mom. I smiled. Mom left the room. I clicked the record button on my camera and set the tripod up correctly as I had nervously pushed it down when Mom surprised me. I need to get a lock for that door. Looking straight into the camera in true YouTube fashion, I continued with my story. I used to be an only child. It was fun for the first 5 to 7 years of my life, but subsequently, I started feeling lonely. I had friends I hung out with, but none of them could fill the emptiness in my soul. I knew what could happen, so I decided to confront my parents about it. Mom, Dad, I have to talk to you about something urgent.
What is it, my boy?
My dad asked kindly. I'm tired of being an only child. It's so boring and lonely. I want a little brother, and I want him as soon as possible. Mom's lips suddenly started to quiver. She burst into painful tears, and Dad had to comfort her by resting her head on his lap and patting it. He looked up at me sternly and ordered me to leave. I didn't know it at the time, but Mom and Dad had been struggling to get pregnant again since they had me, but nothing had worked. All the pregnancies had been failures. It was a traumatic topic for her, and that was why she lost it. She cried throughout that night, and no one talked to me till the next day. I came back from school the next day, had a bath, and changed my clothes. When it was time for dinner, Mom finally decided to say something.
Brian, we want a sibling for you also, but it's not in our power. When the time is right, you will get one.
I nodded and continued eating. If I had said what I had in mind at that time, I'm sure my dad would have smacked me. Fast forward to 3 years later. Mom was 9 months pregnant, and it was her due date. The last 9 months had been filled with joy and happiness. My parents were overjoyed at the long-anticipated pregnancy, and I was ecstatic to finally have a little brother all to myself. Someone who would look up to me and whom I can be a good example to. We got to the hospital and waited outside the labor ward, listening to my mother's screams. She cried and screamed so much that my dad and I started shedding tears too. In true panic mode, he tried to run into the labor room and make sure his wife was all right, but security men and some male nurses positioned outside the room stopped him. The screams and cries went on for so long, almost driving my dad to insanity. A couple of hours later, the cry of a newborn child was heard, and we were allowed to go in. Dad carried his new child and kissed it. I was about to do the same when I found out that the child was a girl and not a boy. No! I screamed internally. Not a girl. Girls have too many issues. I want a little brother. I left the room without touching her. Dad came out of the room and asked me why I refused to carry my little sister. I lied, saying that I did it because I didn't want to break her. Not knowing what relationship I could have with a female sibling, I unconsciously neglected and avoided her. I think my emotional absence in her life made her want to be around me more. She followed me around, just wanting to hang out and spend some time with me, but I always reprimanded her, telling her to stay as far away from me as possible. One day, my mom brought her to my bedroom.
Brian, we're going to be unavailable this weekend. A babysitter is coming, but her main duty is to make sure you guys eat and sleep when you're supposed to, and never leave the house. Every other thing is up to you. Make sure Pat is safe.
Fine, I said grudgingly, unhappy to be stuck with Pat. The babysitter came, but she didn't care if we ate or left the house. She just ate almost all our food, watched some TV, and talked to her friends. I didn't see the point in hiring her because I did everything myself. After I prepared lunch for Pat, the babysitter, Susie, and myself, we ate in the dining section before Susie left us, leaving her dirty plate and cup on the table. I washed everything, then carried Pat to my room and locked the doors. I told Pat to take a nap on my bed while I played some video games, but she refused and insisted on joining me. I let her play and she almost beat me, but I managed to get the upper hand when the game was almost over. I was shocked and asked her how she learned to play, but she told me that it was her first time. I couldn't believe that she was naturally so good, so I kept testing her with different games, and she always put up a great fight, or just beat me mercilessly. We bonded over game playing, and this was how we became friends. The weekend flew by quickly, and our parents came back, grinning from ear to ear.
Guys, we have great news.
My dad started.
A few modeling agencies reached out to us concerning Pat, and we've decided to have a meeting with them. They showed us how the kid modeling system works, and everything is perfect. Pat will become a child model for the agency, and our lives will change forever.
Pat was a child and didn't totally understand, so she just nodded and danced because her parents were happy. I, on the other hand, was worried about this new development. I tried talking to my parents about it, but they dismissed me, saying that this was the way they could give us a better life. I finally gave up when they convinced me that it would be good for Pat too. Pat became a kid model, and her pictures were plastered all over billboards, magazines, and advertisements. I was always worried about my little sister, so I started following her everywhere, just to make sure she was safe at all times. We were flying around the world, and people were always trying to hug or take pictures with Pat. I chased them away. I even followed Pat to the restroom and waited outside while she peed, despite her insistence that she could pee alone and nothing would happen to her. Pat had paid bodyguards, but I didn't trust them totally. As far as I was concerned, if we could pay them to take care of Pat, then someone could also pay them to take her out. All they needed was the money. I became paranoid. When Pat was around 7 years old, she lost it and screamed that I should give her some space. She'd been trying to date a 14-year-old boy whom I beat up. When I simply rolled my eyes and ignored her, she smirked and said,
You know what? It's fine. I understand why you can't simply leave me alone. You have no life of your own, you're stupid and useless. You can't survive without my money, and this is why you follow me around. If you had a life, perhaps you'd be giving me a little bit more space.
Then walked off. Pat had no idea just how bad those words made me feel. I gave up my social life to make sure that she was always safe so she'd be happy and her career would boom. But this was what she had to say to me? I decided to stop being protective of her. It was a constant war inside me, but I managed to emerge victorious most times. I avoided Pat for months and she experienced freedom like never before. Mom and Dad went on their monthly date night one Friday evening and I was alone with Pat in the living room, watching TV. For some reason, Pat decided to stand up and go outside. She'd been doing this frequently recently and I realized that she only did it to garner attention from me, so I ignored her every single time. For some reason though, this particular evening felt different. I was so worried and I couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was about to happen. Pat had been outside in the dark for 5 minutes already, and she was just a tiny kid. This is where you met me in the story, not being able to cope with the indecision anymore. I stood up abruptly, rushing to the front door. Something occurred to me on my way, and I decided to pick up a trash bag so Pat wouldn't think that I came to watch her. Immediately, I stepped out of the house with the trash bag. I heard Pat screaming my name.
Brian! Brian, help me, help me!
I ran towards her voice, and to my horror, 2 masked men were dragging Pat into a white van while she put up a fight. She screamed, kicked, punched, bit, and even spat on the men, and I was proud of her. But she was no match for 2 male adults, being a tiny kid. Terrified that all my previous fears were finally becoming a reality, I flung the trash bag somewhere and it exploded. Not caring where the trash bag had landed or exploded, I quickly ran to the van. But Pat was already inside and the van was on the move. I ran as fast as I could to save my little sister, but there was no way I was going to outrun a van. I was almost losing sight of the van when I found a random unchained bike parked on the side of the road. I got on it and continued my chase while calling the cops, telling them what had happened and telling them to track my phone so they'd know where Pat was eventually taken to. I also put my phone on silent and hid it in my undies, so the kidnappers wouldn't throw it away in case I was caught by them. The kidnappers didn't notice that they were being followed, so they carelessly took Pat to a dirty old building and chained her to the wall of a room. I hid outside the window where Pat was chained while trying to come up with a plan. While I was still standing outside, a dirty old man approached Pat. He started telling her that he'd been watching Pat on TV for a long time and really believed she was special. According to him, the other guys wanted to blackmail Pat's parents for a huge ransom, but all he wanted was to marry her when she became 18. The man asked Pat if she'd like to marry him in the future, and Pat shed tears, but couldn't say anything because she was gagged. Enraged, I jumped into the room through the window, landing on the stupid man. Holding a heavy brick that I had picked up while outside, I knocked the man out, released Pat, and ran. Unfortunately, the kidnappers caught us before we could go far and tied us together in a new room. The irritating old man later came in and angrily said that he would kill both of us for that expensive mistake. He tried to beat me up, but his colleagues stopped him, trying to escape with him because they noticed that the cops had surrounded the building. The old man came back to release my sister, just so he could use her as a shield and possibly escape with her. But the rope proved too tight to remove, and Pat struggled with everything in her. The cops finally caught and arrested him, including all his accomplices. Our parents ran and hugged us, but our joy was cut short when the cops decided to arrest me too. They said that I flung a full bag of trash on my neighbor's face, causing an explosion upon impact. The man's compound was filled with trash and he sustained minor cuts and bruises on his face from the sharp objects that were also included in the trash bag. I was confused and couldn't remember the incident. My punishment was to clean the neighbor's whole compound, and while doing that, Pat decided to help me out. In the middle of our work, Pat gave me a big hug.
You know you're the best brother in the whole galaxy, right?
I laughed.
I'm also the luckiest person that has ever existed because I have you as a brother. I'm sorry about what I said before. I take it all back. Please become overprotective again.
We both laughed, and I told her that I'll try my best.
Like and subscribe if you want.